Hi guys, welcome back to another video here at MT Paradise. If you guys are returning, welcome back. If you're new, then welcome to my channel. So I do a bunch of cool car stuff, and recently been working a lot on my Volkswagen Jetta, so there's gonna be a lot of how-to videos already on my channel with the Jetta, but more to come, especially the fuel injectors in this video. So let me go ahead and get started. All right guys, so these are the fuel injectors I'll be putting into the car. If you guys want to pick up some, I'm gonna have a link in the description down below of where you can get some, but I'm gonna need 4 of them because this is the 2-liter naturally aspirated version of this car. And if your engine looks like this, then I mean obviously it's the same exact one. So let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, so starting off, there's actually going to be 4 plugs on top of each fuel injector. There's going to be one right here, there's going to be one just to the left of that, and then there's the one right here, and then one just to the right of that, kind of up underneath. Then there's going to be this little plug right here. We're just going to go ahead and plug that as well. All these have like a little tab that you push back on, and then it pops right out. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started with those right now. And sometimes it does help to use like a little screwdriver or something to kind of get that tab to go up. Yeah, sometimes they want to be really stubborn, so you just have to kind of work them. There we go. That unplugs. And the space is pretty limited under here, so there we go. Just got that one off. I'm just going to reach all up in there, get that one out, and then these 2 on the other side. All right, so the next thing we want to do is there's this little black cover right here that goes over top of all the wires. There's little tabs on it. We're just going to pop kind of up and then just kind of pops open. And we're just going to do that all the way down on the inside, and that'll release all the wires. So we're just going to go ahead and do that all the way up inside, and then go around to the other side, pop these ones off, and then work our way in. And sometimes you can use this like a little pry tool. You can reach up in there, pop up those little tabs. Link in the description down below to get these as well. And now we can pretty much release the wires. Alright, so next is going to be 2 torque screws that we're going to need to remove. One of them is located right there, and then the other one is on the same side and the other side. Torque screwdrivers, let's say Torx 30, link in the description down below so you can pick up a set of these. Comes with a whole set and a carrying case, so definitely go check those out. Alright, so another thing we want to do is there's this little tiny tab. There we go, a little tab right here. We're going to pop that up. It's going to release like this black plastic trim. And on the other side, I've already opened the gap right here. There's 2 little black tabs that allow that to come up, and then it releases. So it's just going to slide up and out of place. There's those tabs, and then we're just going to pull this little black trim completely out of here. And it's actually going to have to slide off of this end because it does loop around the end. So we're just going to slide this right out, and then we're just going to go ahead and set that aside. Alright, so one of the next things we want to do is actually release all of the pressure within the fuel line. So there's this little cap on the end. We're just going to go ahead and unscrew that. And I went ahead and put a bunch of rags here so that whenever stuff does spray out, it's going to be all contained within that and not all over the engine bay. So maybe you can unscrew this first and then put the rags in. There we go. I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside. And then we're just going to depress the end of the little thing. It's going to release a lot of the pressure. There we go, so it actually wasn't too much. So once you push the little end of it, it's just going to spray out, releasing the pressure. Got a little bit of fuel on that, no big deal. And just kind of wipe up the end of that, just so nothing runs out all over the place. So next what we're going to do is we're going to pretty much pull the whole thing up. We're going to be pulling out the fuel injectors, and then we're going to slide the entire tube right out from underneath the manifold. And you can just kind of push the wires up out of the way so they're not in the way. Alright, so just got one of them popped out. You're just going to have to wiggle it until it pops out because they are a little snug. You see the O-ring in this one. There we go. Now they all just popped out, so now we're just going to go ahead and slide the entire rail out. And there we go. So right there is all the fuel injectors. As you can see, they're all super dirty. There's a lot of gunk and stuff in here. So we're just going to go ahead and remove these. There's these little tiny metal clips. So we're just going to pretty much open it up on either side, kind of push out, and then straight off. There we go, got the first one. And be careful that you don't drop these down into the engine bay. So I'm just going to go ahead and take all these little clips, set them aside so I don't lose those. And then what I'm going to do is just go ahead and lay out some towels here, some rags, so that whenever I pop these out, if any fuel comes out, it's just going to come right out onto the rag and not all over the car. But you're just going to go ahead and wiggle these out of place. There is an O-ring, so they do have to like pop out. All right, so just like that, that one popped out. A bunch of fuel did run out of that. You can see it puddling right there. So what you can do is get like a little bucket, flip this over and dump it into the bucket, just so you don't have fuel like all over the place. Or another thing you could do is just bring a lot more rags. I'm just gonna set up, I'm gonna wipe up. It looks like there's a little bit that got up here. There we go. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this out and then let some of that extra fuel kind of run into these rags here so that I can just dispose of those. All right, so on the end here, it does look like it's a little messy. There's some grime kind of built up on there, maybe a little carbon buildup. So something you do want to use is a little bit of silicone spray or silicone lubricant. You can also use like a thicker grease, but there's these little O-rings here that we're definitely going to want to have lubed up whenever we stick these back in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little shot onto this one. It's going to get all over that O-ring there. And I'm just going to go ahead and stick it right back into here. And it's just going to shove straight down in there. Might have to wiggle it to kind of get it to fit. All right, just like that, I got the first one into place. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and, so a little shot of lubricant on the O-ring here, and then we're gonna go ahead and stick them in place. And something I do wanna mention, if these are actually failing, causing fuel to leak down into your cylinder, causing a misfire, you should probably go ahead and get an oil change as well, because if that fuel gets down through, like passed around the piston rings, it can get into your oil, contaminate it, and you really don't want that. So if this was your problem, definitely do an oil change after this. If you want to know how to do that, I do have a video on my channel. Also in the link down below, there's going to be a video, there's going to be a link to that, so you can go ahead, check that out, and get an oil change after this. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is give these O-rings a little blast so that they can be nice and lubricated. Wipe up a little bit of the excess here. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and go in from the end, and I'm going to go straight into the holes that they came out of. Also, don't forget that before you put this whole thing back in place, you're gonna have to put these little bracket things back on. And just like whenever they came out, you might have to wiggle it into place because they were a little hard to get out. So I'm assuming it's gonna be just as hard to get them back in. Just kind of working from one end and then working my way down to the other. All right, and just like that, we have it back in place. But now that I have that back on, I want to go ahead and throw the screw into this side. Go ahead and throw the screw into that side. Now we've got the rail back in place, we've got the two screws holding it down. What we're going to do is going to take this little black plastic trim. We're just going to go ahead and slide it right back in. And just remember, it's going to have to go, this little hole is going to have to go on top of that right there. Perfect. It's going to get it kind of down in place. And then we're going to come down to the other side and we're just going to line up those two little tabs with the two little holes. And it just snaps right into place. And then this one, it just snaps in right there. It's actually already snapped in. Perfect. And then I'm just going to go ahead and put the little cap back on the valve right here. And then we'll want to try to like line up the wires to kind of go back into that groove onto that little black trim thing. And once they're all in place, you can go ahead and push the little tabs closed. All right, so now that we have that back into place, got the black trim piece closed, I'm just going to go ahead and reconnect all of these plugs, which are just going to snap back together. Just gonna do this one right here since it's somewhat easy-ish to see. Right there. All right, so now I got everything plugged in. It's all good to go. Got the fuel injectors in and everything looks great. All right guys, so if you like this video, definitely go down and hit that like button down below and definitely subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and I really do appreciate it. I really hope this video helped you guys. The links to all the products are going to be down in the description down below, so definitely go check those out so you can pick them up yourself. But as always guys, thank you for watching.